The school nurse's call interrupts what had been an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Mrs. Matthews reports that Lila collapsed during recess. She's conscious now, but they've called an ambulance. My design samples scatter across the conference room table as I spring upright, pressing the phone against my ear so hard it hurts. I promised to meet them at Portland Memorial, but my thoughts are already racing toward my daughter. The hospital emergency room hums with fluorescent urgency. I spot Lila on a gurney, her chestnut hair spread across the pillow, her favorite unicorn backpack clutched tightly. Dr. Brennan, the pediatric cardiologist, leads me to a consultation room while a nurse remains with her. His expression carries the weight of news no parent wants to hear. "We've detected a congenital heart defect," he explains, using clinical terms that blur past me until 3 numbers stop me cold. "The surgery will cost around $110,000. My hands shake uncontrollably. The room narrows to a tunnel with Dr. Brennan's sympathetic face at the end. I try to focus on his words about insurance coverage, but my mind races through desperate calculations. "Our insurance will cover part," I manage to say. "But there's a significant deductible and co-insurance." "How significant?" he asks. $42,000. The figure lands between us like a stone. I think of the life insurance money, Daniel's final gift. The $75,000 I lent my parents last year to cover their woodworking business's tax penalties. Money that was meant for Lila's future. I hear Daniel's voice clearly from the day before his construction site accident. We sat at the kitchen table signing insurance papers while 7-month-old Lila slept nearby. "This money is for Lila's future," he insisted. "Promise me you'll protect it." I had promised. Now I calculate what I have. The business account holds $4,000. Personal savings, $3,500. Home equity might provide $15,000 if approved quickly. Selling my car adds $8,000. The math is merciless. I'm $68,000 short. Later, I sit beside Lila's hospital bed, watching the gentle rise and fall of her chest. The room is quiet except for the monitor's rhythmic beeping. Her small hand rests in mine, warm and trusting. She doesn't know her heart needs fixing or that her life depends on money I don't have. 8 months ago, I signed over the funds to my parents. They explained how IRS penalties could destroy the business my grandfather started. "It's temporary," Mom said, her voice sweet. "We'll pay it back within a year, with interest." I scroll through my phone, past recent client texts, and call my parents' number. Voicemail. I try again. And again. "Mom, Dad, it's Candace. Lila's in the hospital. She needs heart surgery. I need to talk to you about the loan. Please call me back immediately." My voice breaks on the last words. This is the 4th call since Lila was admitted. Each unanswered ring deepens the dread spreading through me. 2 weeks ago at Sunday dinner, Mom had casually mentioned that generous gift you gave us, while showing off new furniture. When I corrected her, she laughed dismissively and patted my hand. Dad changed the subject, pouring more wine, asking about my latest design project. I look at Lila's sleeping face, her long lashes casting shadows. A painful clarity cuts through me. I need to confront them in person. The next evening, I drive to my parents' colonial-style home in Portland Heights. Warm light spills from the windows into the darkening sky, and several luxury cars fill the circular driveway. I suddenly remember, it's Brandon's engagement dinner. I stop at the dining room doorway, taking in the scene. My brother Brandon sits beside his fiancée Lauren at the head of the table. My father Harold stands, crystal glass raised for a toast. My mother beams at Brandon, her pearl necklace glinting beneath the chandelier. "Excuse me," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "I'm sorry to interrupt." Every head turns. Surprise flickers across my mother's perfectly composed face before she recovers with a polished smile. "Candace, darling." What an unexpected surprise. "I need to speak with you and Dad. It's urgent." "Whatever needs saying can be said here," my father replies, gesturing generously. "We're family." I take a slow breath and step fully into the room. Lauren shifts uneasily in her chair. "I need the $75,000 back," I say. "The money I loaned you." "Lila needs heart surgery." A heavy silence follows. I unlock my phone, showing the transfer records from 8 months ago. "Here's the payment, and the messages where you promised to repay it." My mother's smile remains fixed, but her eyes turn cold. "That was a gift, dear. You even sent a thank you note." "For helping with the business," I say, "not for using Daniel's life insurance." My father sets his glass down sharply. Candace, this isn't the time or place for this discussion. When is Dad? I've been calling for 2 days. Lila needs surgery. We've already allocated those funds, he says, voice tight with irritation. Brandon's wedding is in 4 months. The deposits are paid. Deposits? I echo, disbelief rising. You're choosing wedding deposits over your granddaughter's heart surgery? It's about our family's reputation, he answers firmly. The Matthews name carries weight in Portland. Lauren glances at Brandon, who stares at his plate. The wedding costs that much? She asks softly. Silence again. Your granddaughter's life is at stake, I say, my voice breaking. Daniel wanted that money to secure her future. My mother stands, smoothing her silk blouse. We've always looked after this family. You're overreacting. Insurance will cover it. Not all of it, I reply. Then you'll find a way, she says simply. You always do. I look at their faces, the people who raised me, who taught me right from wrong. But all I see is irritation, not remorse. I turn and leave without another word, tears blurring the lights of the driveway as I fumble for my keys. In my car, I rest my forehead against the steering wheel, sobbing until I can breathe again. When I finally regain control, I drive to the hospital parking lot and call the only people left to turn to, my late husband's parents, Robert and Diane Wilson. They answer on the first ring. Within an hour, Diane arrives, her silver hair neatly tied in a practical bun, carrying a cardboard tray with 2 coffees. She embraces me, the scent of cinnamon and comfort enveloping me. Robert's on his way, she says, pressing the warm cup into my hands. He was still on the phone with the insurance company. Robert joins us shortly, his weathered face serious yet determined. He sits in the vinyl hospital chair beside me, his flannel shirt a quiet reminder of the camping trips he once took with Daniel. Tell us everything, honey, he says, taking my free hand in his larger one. As I explain the situation, the diagnosis, the costs, and my parents' refusal, Diane keeps her hand firmly on mine. Tears flow again, but they're different now, a mix of relief and the sting of betrayal. When I finish, Robert is already on calls to his bank, exploring home equity options for their Idaho cabin. Diane quietly organizes hospital paperwork, jotting down notes about insurance contacts and payment schedules. We'll find a way, Diane says, her voice steady. That's what real family does. In that sterile hospital room, watching these two leap into action for a granddaughter who isn't related by blood, I realize I do have a family, just not the one I was born into. 3 days later, I spread financial documents across Robert and Diane's dining table. The late afternoon sunlight catches the edges of hospital bills, insurance forms, and bank statements. Each paper is a piece of the complex puzzle I'm trying to solve. Robert enters, holding his iPad with a grave expression. Candace, I found something you need to see. He places it before me, open to my parents' social media page. A wedding planning post from my mother showcases an elaborate mood board detailing costs. $45,000 for the Riverfront Gardens venue, I read aloud, my voice hollow. $22,000 for Lauren's custom ring. $38,000 for River City catering. I scroll further. Total estimated budget, $280,000. Diane places a steadying hand on my shoulder. Look at the date, she says. The post appeared 3 weeks after I transferred $75,000 to their account. There's more, she adds, sliding a folder toward me. I've been making some calls. Inside, I find an email from my mother's friend Patricia to the Country Club Events Committee. It casually mentions Evelyn's excitement over my gift, which is funding Brandon's wedding. The email is dated just 2 weeks after they promised to repay my loan. My throat tightens. They never intended to pay me back. Robert nods grimly, but it doesn't end there. He produces another document, this one on official Guardian life insurance letterhead. As I read, the room seems to shift. Shortly after Daniel's death, my parents had contacted his insurance company, attempting to claim partial benefits as his grandparents. The letter details their argument that, as elders, they should oversee the funds. The insurance company denied their claim, confirming I was the sole beneficiary. They had tried to access the money directly before even asking for a loan. Diane's voice is calm but firm. This wasn't opportunistic, Candace. They planned it. The truth hits me like ice. My parents hadn't simply taken advantage of a situation. They had been calculating how to access Daniel's life insurance from the moment he died. They treated his death as a financial opportunity. I can barely speak, the words burning in my throat. Later, I watch Lila in her hospital room, arranging stuffed animals on her blanket. Her movements are slower, careful around the incision, but her smile is unchanged. She has no idea her future was treated as a commodity by those who should have protected her. As I watch her play, memories resurface sharply. My parents' absence at Daniel's funeral, the business emergency that kept them in Seattle, their sparse visits to Lila despite living nearby, and the sudden increase in Sunday dinner invitations after I mentioned the insurance settlement. They've been planning this since Daniel died, I murmur to myself, recalling other financial requests during my marriage, small loans never repaid, business ventures they wanted Daniel to invest in, and their consistent interest in our lives whenever money was involved. The patterns suddenly become clear, like a blueprint revealed. This isn't really about Brandon's wedding, it's about control. By accepting the loan, I inadvertently gave them a sense of authority over my life and decisions. My fingers drum against my phone case as a new realization takes shape. I need to document everything they've done. The next morning, a tentative knock interrupts Lila's breakfast. Martha Wells, my mother's oldest friend and fellow garden club member, stands nervously at the door. "I probably shouldn't be here," she murmurs, twisting her pearl bracelet. "But I couldn't sleep last night thinking about that sweet girl." Martha perches on the edge of the visitor's chair, her eyes shifting between Lila and me. "I overheard something at the country club yesterday," she begins in a hushed tone. "Harold was in the card room with James Porter." Her voice drops further. "He owes a lot of money, Candace. Be careful. Dad has gambling debts?" I ask. Martha nods. "James mentioned at least $120,000 owed to various creditors." "And your mother?" I press. She hesitates. "The women in the club have noticed constant new outfits, jewelry. Evelyn has 8 designer handbags just this year. My mind races, connecting the dots. Their company isn't doing well, is it? I ask. Martha confirms. It's been failing for years. They've kept appearances through loans and creative accounting. Most people don't realize how fragile their situation really is." She leans forward. "They're terrified of bankruptcy. Their identity is tied entirely to their social standing." I recall my father's dismissive words at the engagement dinner. The Matthews name carries weight in Portland. James told his wife that Harold would do whatever necessary to maintain their status. Martha's eyes glisten with tears. "I've known your parents for 30 years. They aren't monsters, but desperation makes people dangerous." After she leaves, I sit with this new understanding. My parents aren't villains scheming for evil. They are status-obsessed people making harmful choices out of fear. Their concern for social image outweighs even their granddaughter's life, which makes the betrayal sting even more. That afternoon, the door to Lila's room swings open. Jessica, my lead designer, enters carrying an insulated bag of Italian food, followed by Marcus with a small cart holding my laptop in organized folders. "The Morrison project is under control," Jessica announces while unpacking. "I rescheduled the Benjamin consultation to next month, and the Hawthorne presentation received excellent feedback." Marcus sets up my laptop. "Here are the quarterly financials you requested," he says, handing me a folder with our company logo. "You've built something solid here, Candace. Even with medical expenses, the foundation is strong." As my team efficiently transforms the hospital room into a functional workspace, Robert calls with good news. The second mortgage on the cabin is approved, allowing us to transfer $40,000 tomorrow. An hour later, Diane arrives with folders under her arm. "I spoke with the hospital's financial department," she says. "They can offer a payment plan for the remaining balance, and there's a foundation that might help with ongoing care costs." I glance around the room at Robert and Diane, who mortgaged their retirement cabin, at my team keeping the business running seamlessly, and at the hospital staff finding financial solutions. None of them are obligated to help, yet they've all stepped forward willingly. The contrast with my parents couldn't be clearer. These relationships are built on respect and genuine care, not obligation or appearances. "Lila will get her surgery," I say quietly, determination replacing the panic from 3 days ago. For the first time since the school nurse's call, I feel something stronger than fear or hurt, a calm, focused resolve. The fight for Lila's future has just begun. 3 days later, the hospital cafeteria feels slightly less sterile than the rest of Portland Memorial. I sip lukewarm coffee as Mrs. Peterson, a hospital administrator with gray-streaked hair and reading glasses, reviews my financial aid application. "Mrs. Matthews," she says, pushing a form toward me. Lila qualifies for the Children's Heart Foundation grant. They'll cover 30% of the surgical costs. My hand trembles as I take the document. 30%? I whisper. Mrs. Peterson nods. Additionally, your business qualifies for our Small Business Owner Hardship Program. With the contributions from your in-laws and our hospital charity match, the remaining gap is roughly $20,000. $20,000. The number hovers in front of me, dwarfed by the mountain of debt that had nearly crushed us just days ago. I blink rapidly, hesitant to accept it. Are you certain? I ask, scanning the columns of figures I've already double-checked. Mrs. Peterson's smile reaches her eyes. Lila's case is exactly what these programs were designed for, she says. Robert and Diane had mortgaged their cabin, and the hospital had located grant money. Against all odds, we had reduced the impossible debt to something almost manageable. My phone vibrates against the table, a social media notification lighting up the screen. My parents have posted something. Normally I'd ignore it, but this time I can't. My breath catches as I open it. It's a close-up of Lauren's hand, fingers spread to display an intricate diamond ring. The caption reads, "Continuing the Matthews family legacy. Grandmother's diamonds find a new home." Recognition blooms immediately. The arrangement of stones, a central oval diamond surrounded by smaller rounds, is unmistakable, even digitally. "Those are my grandmother's diamonds," I whisper. "They were promised to me in the will." Mrs. Peterson looks up. "I'm sorry?" "Nothing," I murmur, though my mind races. Years ago, my parents had shown me the will, pointing out heirlooms specifically designated for me. The ring had been mentioned explicitly, a promise of family continuity they apparently had no qualms about breaking. I study the photo again. Not just diamonds, but leverage. Proof of broken promises. A sudden clarity washes over me. "Mrs. Matthews?" Mrs. Peterson asks, concerned. "I've just figured out how to secure the remaining $20,000, I say, straightening in my chair. The next afternoon, I pull into Portland Heights Country Club, heart hammering in my chest. Diane sits beside me. A steady anchor. "You don't have to do this," she whispers. "Yes, I do," I reply, checking my lipstick in the mirror. The charity luncheon is in full swing. Portland's elite mingle beneath the soft hum of conversation and classical music. Crystal glasses catch the light and waiters glide between tables. I spot my parents immediately. He's in a tailored navy suit. Evelyn wears a pale pink dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. They host a table of business associates, my father's laughter carrying across the room. "Ready?" Diane asks. I nod, clutching a leather folder containing Lila's medical documents and the foundation paperwork. We approach with measured steps, all eyes on us. "Mother?" "Father?" I say warmly, smiling as if nothing is unusual. "What a lovely event," my father begins, but stops mid-laugh. My mother's smile freezes, eyes flicking to their guests. "Candace," she says, recovering. "What a surprise." "I was just admiring Lauren's engagement photos," I reply smoothly. "Those diamonds resemble grandmother's, the ones promised to me in your will." A businessman glances up. My mother's fingers tighten around her water glass. "Family tradition," she stammers. "We thought it fitting for Brandon's bride to carry it on." Speaking of family matters, I continue, opening my folder and removing the foundation grant paperwork. I need to discuss something urgent. Lila requires the remaining $20,000 from my loan to complete her heart surgery funding. The table goes silent. I place the documents on the table, tilting them for all to see. The Children's Heart Foundation covers 30%, but the hospital's matching program requires full funds by Friday. I explain clearly, calmly. My father leans forward. "Candace, I'm not leaving without an answer," I interject firmly. "Lila's surgery is Monday." A businessman shifts uncomfortably. A woman in a gold bracelet watches closely, social pressure mounting. My mother flushes, reluctantly reaching for her checkbook. Her pen scratches loudly as she writes. "This doesn't imply agreement with your portrayal of our arrangement," she says, sliding the check toward me. "But we won't discuss Lila's health publicly. The check is for exactly $20,000. I tuck it carefully into my folder. "Thank you for your consideration," I say. As I turn, Lauren's mother at the adjacent table gives me a knowing nod. Back at Portland Memorial, the surgical team confirms Lila's operation is scheduled, and the foundation match secured. Robert and Diane sit in Lila's room, a plate of chocolate chip cookies resting on the bedside table. Robert holds a small brown teddy bear dressed in a tiny hospital gown. "How did it go?" Diane asks, standing to meet me. I lift the check, still slightly in disbelief that it worked. We have the money, Robert says, his worn face lighting up with relief. I knew you could do it. A knock at the door interrupts the moment. Mrs. Peterson steps in, carrying additional paperwork. I have some unexpected news, she says. We've received an anonymous donation of $5,000 for Lila's care. Anonymous? I ask, surprised. Mrs. Peterson nods. All I can tell you is it came from someone at the country club. They specified it was for Lila Matthews' heart surgery. Later that evening, Lauren calls to confirm my suspicion. Her parents had made the donation after overhearing our conversation. They were appalled, she whispers. Mom said no child should suffer because of adult problems. It's the first public acknowledgement that others recognize the injustice of my parents' actions. The story begins circulating through Portland's social circles, and people start taking sides. The next morning, my assistant Marcus arrives at the hospital with a folder of contracts. 3 new clients signed with us yesterday, he explains. They heard about Lila through a mutual connection at the country club. They wanted to work with a designer who demonstrates integrity. Support extends beyond our immediate circle, reaching into the community I've built through my business. Strength emerges from unexpected places, laying a foundation beneath us. In Lila's room, my daughter hugs her new teddy bear tightly, unaware of the battle fought on her behalf. I named him Brave, she says, adjusting his hospital gown, because he's going to have surgery just like me. I brush her hair from her forehead and exchange a glance with Robert and Diane. Their eyes glisten with unshed tears, mirroring my own. This isn't over. $20,000 barely scratches the surface of what my parents owe. But for the first time since this nightmare began, I feel grounded. We have what we need for now. Lila will get her surgery, and I've discovered a strength I never knew I had. My daughter squeezes the bear. Are you crying, Mommy? Happy tears, I admit truthfully. Everything's going to be okay. 2 weeks after Lila's surgery, I spread documents across Robert and Diane's dining table with the same care I use arranging fabric swatches for a design board. Bank statements, texts, emails, every piece of evidence is organized chronologically. The attorney confirmed our suspicions. Those texts where they promised repayment form a binding agreement. The electronic transfers provide clear documentation of intent, Robert says, sliding a folder toward me. I nod. Reviewing the legal assessment with the detached focus I've honed watching Lila's chest rise and fall under hospital monitors. The panic of those early days has transformed into methodical determination. Their vulnerabilities are clear, I say, tapping the country club membership directory. Social standing, business reputation, community status. Diane looks up from her notebook where she records every conversation and broken promise. What about Brandon? Have you spoken with him since the country club? Not yet. He's still processing what happened, I reply, opening my laptop. He's the missing piece. They've manipulated him for years, but he deserves to know where the wedding money went. My interior design instincts guide my strategy. In a successful design, every element serves the overall vision. Nothing wasted, nothing without purpose. The same principle applies here. Every piece of evidence, every relationship, every decision must align toward a single goal. There's something else, I add, pulling up an email from a potential client. The Waterfront Hotel Group wants to hire us for the renovation of their Portland location. It's a $500,000 contract, Robert remarks, whistling. That would put your company on the map. Exactly, I reply. They need a firm with proven stability and a strong portfolio. I close my laptop, my decision becoming clear. For now, my focus is on growing the business before confronting my parents again. The stronger my company becomes, the less influence they will have over my future. I spread out my parents' social calendar, which I obtained through my father's assistant who sympathizes with my situation. The Regional Business Award ceremony is in 3 weeks, where they are set to receive the Family Business Legacy honor. Diane raises an eyebrow. The irony is remarkable, I say. It's the perfect opportunity marking the date, but we must be strategic. No emotional reactions, I remind her. That's exactly what they expect. The woman who trembled in the hospital consultation room no longer exists. She has been replaced by someone who understands that careful preparation is more effective than desperate pleas. An hour later, Marcus arrives carrying a folder of his own. As my assistant, he has become an indispensable member of my strategy team. I've been talking to people in the business community, he says, spreading printouts across the table. Your parents' company is facing supplier payment issues. 3 vendors have put them on credit hold. Document everything, I instruct, and have Jessica photograph all the family heirlooms promised to me over the years. I need a complete catalog. I assign tasks with the same precision I apply to managing design projects. Robert will reach out to his former business contacts who worked with my father. Diane will organize our evidence file with timestamps and witness statements. Marcus will continue gathering intelligence on my parents' financial struggles. They reached out to your design firm yesterday, Marcus adds, shifting uncomfortably. They want to hire you for Brandon's wedding. I stare at him. They don't know who owns the company, do they? Apparently not, he says. They contacted Jessica directly after seeing our portfolio online. A strategic opportunity emerges. My parents have no idea how much my company's reputation has grown while they focused on their social calendar. The timing is significant. Tell Jessica to schedule a consultation next week, I decide, but don't mention my involvement. We work silently for another hour, organizing evidence without unnecessary conversation. Gone is the frantic energy of the early days. We are building a foundation far stronger than an emotional confrontation. My phone rings unexpectedly. Brandon's name flashes on the screen. How dare you make a scene at the country club? He snaps, bypassing greetings. Mom and Dad are devastated. They say you're jealous of my wedding plans. The accusation lands like a blow. They aren't just withholding money. They're actively turning my brother against me. Brandon, I say calmly. I needed money for Lila's heart surgery. Money that came from Daniel's life insurance. They refused. They claim you're twisting things, that you gave them a gift, and now I'm trying to ruin your day out of bitterness over Daniel. I close my eyes, taking in the calculated cruelty of their manipulation. When you speak to them, ask where your wedding funds came from, I continue, my voice steady. Ask to see their business accounts. Ask why they're borrowing from Lauren's parents when I supposedly gave them $75,000. Silence stretches between us. Finally, he responds, uncertain despite his anger. Lauren's parents haven't loaned them money. Check with Lauren. They approached her father last week about an investment opportunity. Ask him, I instruct. More silence, then a hesitant. I'll talk to her. After he hangs up, I glance at the wall of evidence we've assembled. My parents aren't just trying to keep money, they're defending their narrative. The realization strengthens my resolve. They won't turn my brother against me, I tell Robert and Diane. Not now, when I finally see them clearly. 1 month after Lila's surgery, I stand at my office window watching the Portland rain. My reflection is sharper now, unyielding. My daughter has returned to school, her small heart healed, while mine has grown a protective shell. Candace? The hotel contract just came through, Jessica announces, sliding the document across my desk with a genuine smile. Congratulations, I say, signing my name deliberately. 3 years of guaranteed work. This contract represents more than revenue. It's proof of stability, a company thriving despite the storm my parents tried to create, the kind of evidence banks and lawyers respect. Perfect timing, I murmur, tucking a copy into the leather portfolio Robert gave me last Christmas. The one with my initials embossed in gold. Not my family name? How's the demand letter coming along? The final draft arrived this morning. Jessica hands me another folder. Legal wants your approval before sending. They're asking for the full $55,000 balance. The figure nearly stops my breath. $20,000 recovered at the country club. $55,000 still unpaid. My parents' theft calculated in exact dollars and cents. Jessica adds that they've included interest and documented proof of their broken repayment promise. I scan the letter, noting its clinical tone. No trace of the betrayal behind the numbers. No mention of a granddaughter's life hanging in the balance while her grandparents planned a lavish wedding. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Portland Business Journal confirmed next week's interview. The editor wants an expansion story. Another piece falls into place. The business community will learn of my company's success, just as my parents accept their family business legacy honor at next month's awards ceremony. Strategic timing, Robert calls it. I call it justice. On my bulletin board, a timeline tracks every conversation, text, and bank transaction between my parents and me. Each sticky note and document forms a web of evidence leading to one confrontation. 3 former Herald Men associates, dismissed or undermined by my father over the years, have provided statements about his business practices. Their testimonies sit in a blue folder marked verification. Jessica, can you schedule a meeting with the team for tomorrow morning? I want to review our presentation materials. After she leaves, I open my laptop to a financial analysis spreadsheet. The document traces a direct line from my $75,000 loan to vendor deposits for Brandon's wedding. Each cell represents a transaction. Each tab tells part of the story. The work is methodical, meticulous, nothing like my desperate plea at the country club. This isn't about emotion anymore. It's about accountability. My phone rings with Diane's ringtone. Just checking in, she says. How's our girl today? She has show and tell tomorrow. The normalcy in my voice surprises me. Taking her butterfly collection. How's Robert's back? Better after physical therapy. He mentioned running into Thomas Blackwood at the hardware store. I straighten. Thomas Blackwood, chairman of the Regional Business Awards Committee. What did he say? Apparently your parents have been leveraging their upcoming award for a bank loan, using the family name to secure financing. My free hand closes into a fist. This isn't just about me anymore. My parents are repeating their pattern, turning one lie into another. Robert told him about your company's hotel contract. Diane continues. Thomas seemed impressed. Another connection established, another foundation laid. I thank Diane and turn back to my timeline wall. My reflection in the window looks older, more resolute. The woman who once begged for what was hers now leads a careful campaign of truth. The innocent who loaned money to desperate parents has become the strategist they never expected. My phone buzzes again, a client meeting alert. As I gather my materials, Jessica appears in the doorway, her expression unusually serious. 2 clients called asking for urgent meetings. They're concerned about whether we can meet our contracts. The chill that runs through me has nothing to do with the air conditioning. Which clients? The Riverside renovation and the Pearson office building. She hesitates. Both mentioned concerns about our financial stability. Understanding clicks into place. My parents called them. Jessica nods. The Pearsons specifically said Harold Matthews reached out, worried that family business matters could affect your company. The attack isn't just personal anymore. They're targeting my livelihood, my employees' security, my ability to care for Lila. The stakes have moved beyond money. Now, it's about my professional reputation, the legacy I've built through persistence and pain. Set up the meetings for tomorrow, I instruct. Prepare the complete financial reports showing our growth and gather the portfolios for both projects. I want full transparency. As Jessica leaves, my phone lights up with a message from Robert. Lauren's father called. Your parents approached him about investing in their business through the wedding connection. They're using the engagement to solicit funds. My chest tightens. They're not only keeping what they took, they're expanding their scheme, now targeting Lauren's wealthy family. I take a deep breath. The calm, careful plan I've been following suddenly feels too slow. Waiting for the awards ceremony might cost me everything. Each passing day gives them more room to strike. Diane's words echo in my mind. Sometimes kindness is telling the hard truth. I call my lawyer. We need to move faster, I say. They're attacking my business directly and reaching out to Lauren's family for money. We can send the demand letter tomorrow, he replies. But a public move at the ceremony gives you maximum leverage. Can we do both? I ask firmly. I'm done being on the defensive. After hanging up, I stare out the window. The rain has stopped, leaving the city gleaming under a fragile sky. Sometimes the real storm isn't thunder, but steady pressure, water seeping into every weakness, exposing every flaw. My parents thought I was just a desperate daughter. Instead, they've made their greatest opponent, a mother protecting her child's future, a businesswoman defending her life's work, a woman no longer afraid to face the truth. Tomorrow, the tide turns. The next day, I hold the legal threat letter in my hands. Its official letterhead heavy with intent. Attorney Gregory Simmons, Esquire, demands I stop all defamatory statements about Matthew's fine woodworking and issue a public apology immediately. The letter lands on my kitchen counter with a dull sound that belies its impact. My phone rings. It's Warren Hastings, our largest client. His tone is uneasy. Candace, I got a call from your father this morning. He said your company might be in financial trouble. I steady my voice. That's completely false, Warren. We're stronger than ever. He sounded certain, Warren continues. He even mentioned possible bankruptcy. Their cruelty is perfectly timed. Tomorrow's Regional Business Awards ceremony, where my parents will receive the Family Business Legacy honor, marks their big public triumph. And they're trying to destroy everything I've built so I can't stand in their way. After reassuring Warren, another call comes, this time from the Ethics Committee of the American Society of Interior Designers. A formal complaint has been filed against Matthew's design studio, citing client neglect and financial misconduct. The representative reads fabricated claims with clear inconsistencies. The complainant is Harold Matthews, she says. He identified himself as your father. I press a hand to the counter to steady myself. I'll provide full documentation disproving these allegations by the end of the day. Before I can catch my breath, my phone buzzes again, a message from Jessica. Evelyn confronted Robert and Diane at the grocery store. Said they're enabling your jealousy. Diane nearly lost it. Before I can reply, Brandon calls, his tone sharp. Mom and Dad said you're trying to destroy our family. What's wrong with you, Candace? That's not true, I say quietly. Can we talk tonight? There's something you should know about the wedding funds. Oh, what? That you're jealous I'm getting the celebration you never had? His words sting, twisted by manipulation. It's about where the money came from, I respond softly. The line goes dead. I sit on the kitchen stool, mentally sorting through their coordinated assault. Legal threats, client sabotage, false ethics complaints, family manipulation, all timed to break me before the ceremony. They're weaponizing every relationship and institution they can, betting that I'll give in under pressure. The door opens, and Lila walks in from her playdate, humming gently, unaware of the storm around us. She stops when she sees my face. Are you okay, Mommy? I force a smile. Just grown-up stuff, sweetheart. How's Sarah's house? While Lila talks about her afternoon, my phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. This is Lauren. What's really going on? Brandon looks puzzled. My relief comes from an unexpected ally. Within the hour, my carefully planned response begins. Our legal team sends documented proof of the loan to my parents' attorney, along with a cease and desist addressing false statements to my clients. Marcus provides business. Records confirming the company's stability to Warren Hastings and other concerned clients. Jessica compiles a detailed timeline, outlining my parents' recurring behavior pattern for Lauren. I draft an email to the ASID Ethics Board, including documentation disproving each false complaint. Timestamps on completed projects, client testimonials, and financial records illustrate consistent professionalism, not negligence. My phone rings again. It's my media contact at the Portland Business Journal. I received your background information, she says. This is quite a story about Matthew's fine woodworking. Do you have documentation for all of this? Yes, I confirm. Every transfer, text message, and email, plus medical records showing the timing of my daughter's surgery compared to their wedding expenses. Robert calls to confirm he and Diane will attend tomorrow's ceremony for support. We've rescheduled our doctor appointments. We'll be there front and center. Marcus sends video testimonials from 3 satisfied clients that directly counter my parents' claims about the company's reliability. Jessica delivers final financial records showing not only stability, but notable growth over the past 6 months. Coordinating all these pieces brings me a strange sense of calm. What started as desperate pleas has become a deliberate campaign for truth. I am no longer asking for what's mine. I am demanding accountability with undeniable evidence. At 8:17 p.m., the doorbell rings. Brandon stands on the porch, shoulders hunched, expression a mix of anger and confusion. Lauren showed me the timeline, he says as he steps inside. I don't believe it. I guide him to the dining room, where folders of evidence are spread across the table. See for yourself. For the next hour, Brandon reviews bank transfers, texts, and medical bills. Denial turns to anger, which finally collapses into shock. They told me you were jealous, he whispers. That you've always resented my success. I've never been jealous, I say. I just needed the money I loaned them to save Lila's life. He picks up Lauren's engagement ring, studying the diamonds. These were supposed to be yours? Grandma's diamonds. Dad promised them to me in his will. Did you know they borrowed $150,000 from Lauren's parents for the wedding? Brandon's voice breaks. Her father thought he was investing in Dad's business expansion. The final piece falls into place. My parents aren't just refusing repayment. They are soliciting more funds based on the reputation they'll gain tomorrow. Brandon examines the ring under the dining room light. Lauren's parents may take legal action if they don't get answers about their investment. The stakes have reached their peak. Family, business reputation, and legal consequences all converge at tomorrow's ceremony. This isn't your fault, I tell him, reaching across to squeeze his hand. I'm coming tomorrow, he says, slipping the ring into his pocket. I need to hear their explanation in person. And Lauren? I ask. She wants to bring her parents. They deserve answers about their investment. After Brandon leaves, I review the evidence portfolio one last time. I arrange the documents in presentation order and create digital copies on a thumb drive to connect to the ceremony's system. Every detail is meticulously prepared for maximum impact. I place the folder in my briefcase and walk to Lila's bedroom. She sleeps peacefully, unaware of the storm about to hit our family. I brush a strand of hair from her forehead, remembering how small she looked in that hospital bed while my parents arranged flowers costing more than her medical care. Tomorrow, everyone involved will gather in one room. My parents believing themselves untouchable. Brandon and Lauren newly awakened to the truth. Robert and Diane steadfast in their support. Lauren's parents demanding accountability for their investment. The business community my parents have carefully cultivated. And me, no longer the desperate daughter pleading for help, but a woman armed with undeniable evidence and determined to use it. I close Lila's door gently and return to my bedroom, laying out my outfit for tomorrow, not the muted attire of a supplicant, but the confident clothing of someone fully aware of her worth. Tomorrow will reveal what matters more to them. I whisper to Daniel's photograph on my nightstand, reputation or reconciliation. The next day, the Regional Business Awards ceremony transforms the Windsor Hotel ballroom into a gathering of Portland's business elite. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over white-clothed tables where the city's professional elite exchange practice smiles. From the entrance, I see my parents at the front table, my father's silver hair gleaming under the stage lights, my mother's diamond earrings sparkling with every turn of her head. Ready? Robert asks, squeezing my shoulder, his hands steady and warm. I nod, clutching my evidence folder. Behind us stand Diane, Brandon, Lauren, Marcus, and Jessica, my chosen family, forming a protective front. Brandon's face is pale but resolute. Just yesterday, he sat in my living room, staring at bank statements showing how our parents funded his wedding with money meant for his niece's heart surgery. They told me you were jealous, he had whispered, voice hollowed by betrayal. My parents' faces freeze mid-laugh when they notice our group. Father's smile stiffens. Mother's fingers tighten around her champagne glass. The room hums with discussions about business forecasts, oblivious to the approaching confrontation. The awards committee chairman taps the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 37th Annual Regional Business Awards. I listen as he introduces each category, accompanied by polite applause. When the Family Business Legacy Award is announced, my father straightens his already perfect tie. The Matthews family has grown Matthews Fine Woodworking from a small workshop into Portland's leading custom furniture studio, the chairman declares. Harold and Evelyn Matthews embody generational integrity and family values in business. The audience applauds as my parents glide to the podium. Father adjusts the microphone, his voice calm and measured. Business success comes from sacrifice and vision. Sometimes difficult choices must be made to preserve a family legacy. Mother steps forward, her smile flawless. Nothing matters more than supporting our children, even when their decisions challenge us. My stomach twists at their performance, at the admiration in the eyes of people who don't know them. Brandon grips my chair tightly, knuckles white. We will now take questions from the audience, the chairman announces. Robert nods at me. I rise, my heels clicking against the hardwood as I approach the microphone. The spotlight warms my face. Could you explain, I begin, voice steadier than expected, how my husband's life insurance funded Brandon's wedding? The room falls silent. Father's face hardens, but before he can answer, I connect my tablet to the presentation system. For context, I continue. This is a $75,000 transfer from my account to Matthews Fine Woodworking a year ago, the screen illuminating the transaction details. And these are text messages promising repayment within 1 year. I swipe to the next image. My 7-year-old daughter Lila in Portland Memorial Hospital a month ago, requiring heart surgery costing $110,000. The photo shows her connected to monitors, unicorn backpack at her bedside. And this, I continue, is my parents' response when I asked for repayment to save her life. Screenshots of ignored calls, dismissive texts, and the recorded home conversation appear as I swipe. Next, wedding vendor contracts totaling $280,000 appear, signed shortly after my loan, including $38,000 for flowers alone. Brandon steps forward beside me. I didn't know, he says, voice cracking. I had no idea where the money for my wedding came from. Lauren joins us, slipping her diamond ring from her finger. I can't wear stones meant for my sister-in-law. From the second row, Lauren's father rises. Harold, you asked for additional investment from me using Brandon's wedding as collateral. Was that also money intended for your granddaughter's care? Father's control falters. This is a private family matter, misrepresented by my emotional daughter, he says. Your emotional daughter, Robert interjects from our table, had to mortgage her in-laws' retirement cabin to pay for your granddaughter's surgery. Mother steps forward, her smile now brittle. We have always supported our family. Candace is overstating the situation. Most of the surgery costs were covered by insurance. After insurance, $42,000 remained. To clarify, the life insurance Daniel left specifically to secure Lila's future would have covered this amount if the loan repayment promise had been honored. The awards committee chairman exchanges urgent whispers with the other members. Moments later, he steps to the microphone. In light of this new information, the committee will review the family legacy honor. Father's face turns pale. This is just a misunderstanding, he stammers. Is it, though? A man in a charcoal suit rises from the center tables. Mr. Matthews, I'm Kevin Brenner from First Portland Bank, he says. Our loan committee approved your application yesterday based on this award announcement. Given these developments, I need to speak with you immediately. Father's hand shakes as he grips Mother's arm. Around them, the people who had nodded in admiration now lean away, subtly distancing themselves. This is ridiculous, Mother hisses, though her composure falters as a woman at the next table stands. My son required specialized education funding last year. You claimed your business couldn't repay the $10,000 I invested, yet you spent $38,000 on wedding flowers? The chairman clears his throat. After committee consultation, we are rescinding the family business legacy honor, effective immediately. Father staggers slightly, his hands gripping the podium. His composure crumbles like sand in high tide. Mrs. Matthews, the chairman continues, turning to me, your design firm's growth, despite these personal challenges, demonstrates remarkable business skill and integrity. Perhaps next year you will accept our nomination instead. From the back of the room, a tall woman in a hotel management uniform rises. Candace's company is handling our complete renovation. We chose her for her integrity and transparency. One by one, 3 former clients share similar testimonials. Each validation shifts attention from my parents, leaving them isolated at the podium, as the room's focus moves to me. The awards ceremony concludes efficiently, though awkwardly. In the hotel lobby afterward, business leaders approach. Some exchange cards, others offer handshakes and genuine respect. Through the revolving doors, I see my parents leaving alone, Father's shoulders slumped. Mrs. Matthews, Kevin Brenner approaches. I've spoken with the loan committee. Your parents' approval has been revoked. They leveraged this award in their application. Lauren's father joins, face tense with controlled anger. I've demanded the return of my investment. They weren't the only ones misled. 3 other wedding guests compare notes. Brandon stares after my parents' car. I had no idea, he repeats. I'm postponing the wedding. We need to start fresh. Lauren links her arm through his. Lila deserves to know her real family. Robert confronts Harold before he can reach the parking lot. You chose status over your granddaughter's well-being. What kind of man does that make you? Diane turns to Mother. A mother protects her child, not her social calendar, Evelyn. As guests filter past, I feel the weight of accomplishment. Every element of our preparation, financial documents, professional networks, media contacts, legal measures, has paid off. This victory feels complete in a way the country club confrontation never could. Are you going to say anything else to them? Marcus asks quietly. I watch my parents drive away, diminished without their social armor. No, I reply. Surrounded by those who stood with me, I know this wasn't about punishment. It was about truth and protection. My real family gathers around me, bound not by blood but by choice and presence when it mattered most. That made all the difference. The morning sun streams through my office as I review the certification for ethical business practices that arrived yesterday. 1 week after the awards ceremony, the impact continues. Candace? Marcus knocks on the doorframe, tablet in hand. The Seattle contract is ready, and Mrs. Peterson from the Hospital Foundation called. They want you on their advisory board for the new family support program. I glance up from Lila's latest heart checkup report beside the business plan for our Denver expansion. Tell her yes, schedule it around Lila's piano lessons. The phone rings again, my new normal. The interior design magazine wants a profile. The bank needs refinancing confirmation. A client seeks our firm's integrity-driven services. My hands no longer shake answering calls. Through my open door, I see the team working with quiet focus. Jessica coordinates contractors for the hotel project. Sam finalizes the Seattle office budget. The office hums with something I've been missing: security. Last night, for the first time since Lila's diagnosis, I slept through the night. A text from Brandon buzzes. Lauren and I found the perfect small garden venue for the new wedding. Family only. Can you come see it this weekend? I smile at the simple invitation that would have stressed me weeks ago. The wedding now focuses on relationships over appearances, costing less than the original flower budget. News of my parents spreads in whispers. Supplier payment issues remain. The country club ethics investigation continues. They've listed their house for sale, realtor's sign stark against the manicured lawn where I once played. I feel only quiet relief. At home, Robert's truck is in the driveway. Diane's lasagna fills the kitchen, and Lila plays confidently at the piano, Robert recording her progress. Mom! She jumps up to hug me. Grandma Diane taught me a new song today, and I didn't feel tired at all. Her vitality, the effortless way she moves across the room without losing breath, still tightens my throat with gratitude. Dr. Brennan's latest report confirms her heart is healing exactly as expected. Let me hear it after dinner, I say, hugging her. Diane wipes her hands on a towel and returns the embrace. Brandon and Lauren called earlier. They're coming over to show some wedding plans. The doorbell rings as we set the table. Brandon stands on the porch, slightly awkward, while Lauren holds a portfolio and a bottle of wine. The tension in Brandon's shoulders has eased since he decided to postpone the original wedding. When he hugs me, I feel the genuine pressure of his arms, not the stiff formality of obligation. During dinner, Lila scans the table, taking in Brandon and Lauren alongside Robert and Diane. Her brow furrows in that thoughtful way, so reminiscent of Daniel. Are we a bigger family now? She asks, pausing mid-bite. Her simple question quiets the table. Brandon reaches for Lauren's hand. Yes, sweetheart, I answer steadily. We are. 6 months later, I stand on a restaurant balcony overlooking downtown Denver, champagne in hand, observing a small gathering of my expanded team. Tomorrow, our third city office opens, with contracts already signed for the first 3 projects. The company that once occupied my dining room now employs 27 people across 3 states. Jessica approaches, tablet in hand, displaying our latest financial projections. We have 3 more clients than expected this quarter, she reports. And the developer in Seattle wants us for their entire apartment complex. That would mean working through Christmas, I say, handing back the tablet. We're available after January 10th. Family time is non-negotiable. A year ago, I would have accepted any project regardless of timing or pressure. Now it feels like breathing after years underwater. Lila's school calls less often now that her stamina has returned. Her recent checkup shows complete recovery, the surgical scar reduced to a thin white line beneath her favorite unicorn t-shirt. She plays piano twice a week, mastering pieces that used to exhaust her in a few measures. Robert and Diane sold their Idaho cabin and bought a smaller home 15 minutes away. They host Sunday dinners where Brandon and Lauren have become regulars. Lauren teaches Lila watercolor painting each weekend, heads bent together over papers blooming with color. Former clients have become friends who call simply to check in. My business cards now carry a tagline I once considered risky: integrity in design and relationships. When a young designer on my team faces pressure to cut corners, I immediately recognize her stress. We sit in my office as she describes the ethical dilemma, anxiety tightening her voice, the same anxiety I once felt daily. Sometimes the costliest decision is the one that protects your integrity, I tell her. We'll find another approach that serves everyone. The knowledge is ingrained in me, earned through experience. 1 year to the day after Lila's surgery, we gather in our backyard. A stone patio beneath string lights hosts the first fundraising dinner for the Daniel Wilson Foundation. 5 families have already received help bridging insurance gaps for pediatric heart surgeries. A hospital partnership ensures expedited care for foundation recipients. My professional network has established a sustainable funding model that will expand to neighboring states next year. The Foundation's mission statement hangs framed in my office. Family means showing up when it matters most. Inside, Lila plays piano while Robert records, her fingers moving with precision on a complex piece she once couldn't finish. Brandon stands with his arm around Lauren, whose pregnancy is visible beneath her flowing dress. "We want you to be the godmother," Lauren whispers as Lila finishes playing. Diane organizes photo albums on the coffee table, mixing new memories with old ones. The empty spaces left by my parents remain unfilled. Their absence is a wound slowly turning into scar tissue. I watch my daughter play, surrounded by those who chose to be family rather than those assigned by birth. Some broken promises reveal who we can count on, others show who we can become when faced with impossible choices. Tonight, we celebrate both.